This is the perfect RIA, in case you didn't know. Bringing you all the strategies to help your business grow. Are you happy? Are you satisfied? Are you hanging on the edge of your seat? Sit back and listen in while you feel the beat, yeah! Another myth bites the dust.
Hello, TPR Nation. This is Amber Kuhn from The Perfect REA. Thank you for joining me on today's Follow-Up Friday, where I'll be covering the highlights and action items from this week's episodes. On Monday, Matt and Micah talked about stacking the odds in your favor when it comes to prospect meetings and the entire experience. Matt said that you need to do everything you possibly can to stack the odds in your favor to create an experience that provides credibility and confidence to the client or prospective client. But there's an important distinction to note here. This isn't about manipulation or deceiving people. Instead, this is about effective communication and understanding body language and stacking the deck in the client's favor to make the best decisions. Micah recommends that you look at a meeting from a prospect or client's perspective. And it's looking at the little things. Think about what it's like when you shake someone's hand. What if your hands are cold? Or you shock someone when you're shaking their hands? How are you addressing those situations? Matt will take into consideration the bookshelves and the smells in his office. He said you need to look at, is there anything that could take away from a positive client experience? You want to do everything in your power to make the experience as good as possible. The guys also talked about the mindset you need to have when you're meeting with a prospect or client and the impact that makes. Micah's sole goal when meeting with a prospect is to change their life, not to get hired. Getting hired is a byproduct of changing their life. The guys said this is such a great mindset because then you can look at everything that happens in that meeting as an opportunity to change someone's life. And you're stacking the deck in your favor to make sure that you create this positive experience. And that can help with your own head trash. The guys didn't always look at meetings with this mindset. They used to dread having prospect meetings because they didn't know how to deliver value. It wasn't clear to prospects what they could actually do for them. Micah pointed out that it's when it's thrown in your face that you've failed to deliver value, that's when you start to learn. Micah shared how his meetings look with prospects, and one of the first things that he does is go into the prospects' questions and concerns. He'll say that his job is to help answer their questions. Now, make sure to note this. Micah does this differently than just asking, do you have any questions? You're saying, what questions do you have or what else is on your mind? This goes from being a mechanical question to one where you show that you are truly concerned about what's on their mind. Micah will also go through a meeting outline. Now, this is different from his agenda. This is incorporating all of their questions in with his agenda, and then he'll talk through how that meeting will go. He said you can fit their questions into the overall agenda instead of being distracted by the question and not following the process. Matt also said you want to use the same terminology for something as long as what they're saying is the correct thing, such as saying a boatload of taxes versus owing a lot of taxes. One of the things Matt and Mike have talked about recently is credibility. So they'll be sure to share that they've got 20 years of experience. But for those who are newer to the industry, they recommend that you pivot and say, in all of our experience, or our firm has helped clients retire. You can talk about the firm to help establish that credibility. No matter what, you have to have an answer for objections or certain questions. Micah will ask open-ended questions in once. These are things that have no wrong answer, and there's no pressure, and those answers give so much information. Also, when he brings up gaps in their retirement income timeline, he'll show this in an empowering way. And he's also not just trying to solve an answer, but instead he wants to give someone a formula to figure things out. The guy said this is all about serving as a guide. You want to, as much as possible, be the emotional guide as much as a numbers guide. Let's get into action items. Role play 2 things: the meeting outline and how you weave prospect questions into your agenda, and then what are the main objections that you fear. Now, one way to do this is to find an advisor who you respect and ask how they handle those objections. Always go into a meeting prepared with your agenda. And lastly, Matt's book, Delivering Massive Value, the bonus edition, was recently released. You can purchase this by going to theperfectre.com/book. On Wednesday, Matt was joined by Blake Brewer from Legacy Letter Challenge. Blake shared his personal experience as to what led to the creation of the Legacy Letter Challenge. His dad tragically passed away while he was on a family vacation. This was an incredibly heartbreaking story, and if you haven't listened to this episode, please go back and listen in to hear Blake share his experience. Blake talked about how his mom approached him with a letter that his dad had been working on for him. He said that letter helped him get through such a difficult experience, and then it completely changed his life. And now that letter has turned into his life's mission, to help other people write similar letters. He said this idea of writing this letter is so simple, but it was life-changing for him. When his kids were little, he decided to write a letter, and he realized that this simple act wasn't actually easy, and it was hard to put everything down. He said once he finished it, he knew he had created something valuable for his kids, but he said it also crystallized his vision for his family and his children. From there, he realized he wanted to help lead people into that journey of writing the letter, and he started doing this full time. His mission is to help 1 million dads and moms write at least one well-written, meaningful, lasting legacy letter. One of the ways that Blake is working towards this goal is by partnering with advisors so that they can offer this as a value to their clients. Blake talked about how with your kids that they're always facing something, whether that's a big decision or a temptation that could derail their life purpose, or whether it's a big opportunity. He said by sharing that meaningful letter, it can bring confidence into their life. So Blake encourages people to share the letter sooner rather than later. Blake is offering a free template on writing this letter, which you can get by visiting legacyletterchallenge.com/TPR. He also offers a masterclass that advisors can purchase that their clients can then go through and use. Let's get into action items. Create a legacy letter. Visit legacyletterchallenge.com/TPR to get the free guide and an option to get the masterclass. Do this for yourself and your family, and also offer this as a value add for your clients. On Thursday's episode, Jamie kicked off by asking, who is at fault when your team does what you told, but you failed to give them the proper instructions to execute on what you've asked to them? Jamie said that it's so important for you and your team to constantly educate yourself and learn from other opportunities, and that the foundation of personal development begins with training. So one of the first things you should do is look at what your onboarding process is. At Shalansky & Associates, first employee needs to understand the who and the why behind their organization. Team members will then do specific role training, but she said that you can't stop the education there. You need to continuously be reinforcing and educating your team all the time. One of the things she said they've started doing is specific pod trainings twice a month. These are led by the leads on a very specific topic. And then once a month, there's a team-wide training on a topic that impacts everyone in the organization. Jamie then talked through what this looks like from development to execution. She said they'll set up a schedule and they'll ask the team members a topic on what they want to talk about. Jamie noted that in between surge meetings, she came up with 60 questions that people were asking her. So from there, she decided to move forward with these trainings that will talk about how something impacts their company and their firm. The way that she set this up was by writing down all those questions that she received. Then she would break it up to a schedule for the pods in the entire team. And then she's creating a syllabus. That syllabus needs to include when is the training, the time, and that it's mandatory to attend. And then once it's recorded, it actually lives on their learning management system. The syllabus will also include the subject, books to read, or podcasts or YouTube videos to access before the training happens, and this helps to reinforce the lesson for the team. The day of the training, they follow the syllabus, but the training can evolve into other conversations. They'll talk about the book, they'll talk about the topic, why it matters, and then go into the weeds and the mechanics as to how it will work. She'll have one of their junior financial advisors set the stage if there's going to be a client deliverable or when the training is related to a specific financial planning topic, and they'll share what the conversation looks like. Jamie said that when you're communicating, you're using words that you hope will be effective to clients because this is about changing their lives. As the advisor, you're not the hero, you're the guide, and you guide them through complex situations so that they can achieve their goals. She'll optimize the training to use the best people to convey the idea in the best way. So that financial advisor will deliver the value add, present the client experience, and show what it's like for the client. She said this is where you start, with the end product in mind. In training, she wants the team to know the end product and then figure out how to get there. One thing to note, the lead isn't a supervisor. They're leading the conversation because they've had more experience in a certain area. And also by doing this, they're transferring credibility to others, and those people can be those that the team goes to for more questions. And because everyone is collectively trying to change as many heartbeats as possible, it's not just one pod that's involved in all of this. So after the training and the video is done, the videos are handed off to other people for the technical part and the instructions, the transcription, and then everything is uploaded to their learning management system. That way it's available to everyone to reference. Jamie said that if you want people to be better professionals and more educated in the way that you do financial planning, then you need to make sure that you're continually giving them tools to do so. Let's get into action items. You need to have career paths for your employees, and they need to be empowered in knowing what they control and that they have control over their work and their destiny. You need to have training protocols in place. When are you going to do regular and consistent trainings? Have a template and syllabus built out ahead of time that tells what books to read, what resources to have, what will be talked about, and what the end result will look like. That wraps up this week's recap. Thank you for joining me on today's Follow-Up Friday. Be sure to give us 5 stars wherever you're enjoying this podcast and share this or any of our episodes with another advisor or team member who you think might benefit from listening. And until next time, happy planning.
Hold on before we go. Something that you need to know. This isn't tax, legal, or investment advice. That isn't our intent. Information designed to change lives. Financial planning can make you thrive. Start today, don't think twice. Be a better husband, father, mother, and wife. The perfect RIA, the perfect RIA.